Yeah, Ian, there have been some calls for change for a while now, and even some MPs who have publicly called for Trudeau to step down. But this is by far the most advanced effort that we have seen to this point. And it's really escalated throughout this week with Justin Trudeau overseas at this summit in Asia. What's been happening is MPs have been meeting in rooms all across Parliament Hill, and they're being asked to sign their names to what amounts to a pledge to stand together in calling for Trudeau to resign. Now, it's not a letter they're signing that will be circulated. Instead, it's a tightly controlled document. There are no copies, there are no photos, and sources I've spoken to describe it as a vehicle to secure a commitment from MPs to seek that leadership change and bind the MPs to that goal should the Prime Minister and his supporters push back. Look at it like an insurance policy of sorts, signed in ink in the MP's own hand that becomes impossible to disavow if the pressure gets too high. And Ian, what my sources are saying is that at least 20 MPs have so far signed this document, with others voicing their support for this cause. One MP who signed the document told me that the number of signatures spilled over to a second page. And my understanding is that it's from across the country. Backbenchers from the Atlantic, from Quebec, from Ontario, and from the West. No cabinet ministers that we know of that have signed it to this point, but we know that there are some cabinet ministers who are aware of these efforts.
And what sort of reaction are we expecting from the Prime Minister?
Well, he has been adamant to this point that he isn't going anywhere. I don't know if this changes anything. He is flying back from Laos, so we don't know if he plans to stick with his intentions to stay, because that risks a possible splinter in the caucus. We don't know if this changes his calculation and he decides to leave, or if these MPs could back down now that the word has gotten out and the Prime Minister's office is able to respond. Because people I've spoken with who are connected with this effort said their intention was to keep it secret for as long as possible till it built to critical mass, and the fear was that moving too fast could allow the Prime Minister's office a chance to respond and maybe splinter the resistance. So right now it is still very unclear how Justin Trudeau responds once he's back in Canada.
David Cochrane with our breaking news in Ottawa.